Hello everyone, my name is Chrissy and welcome to my channel. Today we're doing a book review of The Sun is Also a Star by Nicola Yoon. This follows two teenagers, Natasha and Daniel. Natasha is trying to save her family from deportation back to Jamaica, and Daniel is on his way to a college interview to one of the top schools, and I believe it's Stanford. I will fix it if it's not Stanford. On their way to their respective appointments, they meet and are pretty attracted to one another. They start to get to know each other, and Daniel talks Natasha into trying out these questions that are supposed to be scientifically proven to get people to fall in love with one another. Like, there's also 4 minutes of staring into each other's eyes and all that kind of stuff. Now, Natasha doesn't tell him that her family is set to be deported that night, and so Daniel's like, this could be the love of my life. And, that's the premise of this book. There's a lot to like about this book. This is a book of parallels, which I'm a big fan of. We have Natasha's family who immigrated from Jamaica and Daniel's family who immigrated from South Korea. Natasha's father had come from Jamaica in order to try and make his way onto the stage of Broadway and other big stage productions because that was his dream, that was his passion. He really wanted to be a stage actor. Now, Daniel's father is a pragmatist, and he ended up owning a store which sells hair care products predominantly to black women. And this is kind of the community that formed with immigrants from South Korea and how they went about creating a living in America. So it's pretty much two different stories of immigration and paths to jobs and paths to employment and dreams, and one person trying desperately to follow their dreams, and another person kind of giving up his dreams and not really dreaming at all in order to take care of his family, in order to just make a living and to not live as poor as he did back in South Korea. I just thought that was such a nice parallel between the families. And in fact, there's also this mirroring of attitudes between Natasha and Daniel. Now, Natasha's father was such a dreamer that it pretty much made her into this practical person. She is heavily into science and numbers and kind of wants to follow a more logical path than her father. She's planning on being, I believe it's a data analysis, in order to ensure that she has a job, and because that just makes sense for her. At least at the time she thinks it makes sense. Whereas Daniel is heavily into poetry, and that's kind of his passion at this moment and what he wants to do for his future. But his parents want him to go to Yale in order to become a doctor. Now, there are chapters that talk about different concepts like love and stars, and there are also chapters that go back into the father's histories and the mother's histories. So there are those chapters as well, besides chapters that feature Daniel and Natasha. The point of views are primarily between Natasha and Daniel, and those are in first person. All the other chapters are in third person. To put it simply, I did like this book. I liked the chemistry between Natasha and Daniel. I thought that was really sweet. I did really have moments of, well, what's going to happen? Are they going to get together? Are they not? Is Natasha's family going to be deported? Are they going to manage to stay? Is the lawyer that she managed to get a hold of going to be able to help them in this time? I liked how immigration was put into the story and where the failings are in the system that's in America. I also really liked the look into different cultural family dynamics between Natasha and her family and then Daniel and his family. I also liked some of the dissociations of trying to be American but also trying to honor and respect the culture that you come from, or the culture that your family comes from. I thought that was really well done and looked at, because not only do you have Daniel and his mindsets on it, which he's a really laid-back guy. He is very comfortable in his own skin, it looks like, and he kind of knows who he is as a person, versus his brother, who doesn't really seem to like himself very much and doesn't really seem to like that his parents came from somewhere other than America itself. So I thought that was really well done. Now, as far as things that I didn't so much like about this book, there's really only one, and that's the ending of the book. For me, it was a little bit too open-ended, and that's with an epilogue. I just want specifics of what happened. There are some details, but there's just not enough detail for me. But that's just on a personal level. I really, really wanted to know specific things that ended up happening. I just want to know their future together. That's it. I just want to know what happens 50 years down the line. 50 years. Tell me. Overall, I do recommend this book, especially if you are into storylines of the will they make it, will they not make it, what's going to happen to them. I thought that the author did a really good job of making it remain a mystery because I really was surprised at how it ended. A lot of times you can kind of see the ending from blocks away, and that's perfectly fine. That's, that doesn't make it a not good book. But if an author can surprise me, that's always such a nice little gift in a book. I plan on watching the movie, but the one thing with the movie and the book that I'm a little bit worried about. Now, in the book, Daniel jokes around a lot, and he's sometimes a little bit awkward, but in the movie, it looks like he's like this suavemente, like just putting down the lines all the time. That did not come across on the page, sir. That did not. I will still watch the movie, though. I want to see what it's like. And that is my review for this book. As always and forever, may get lost in a book.